what is happening? Is he gone? Oh no, he's still there.
Oh my
Caleb, how
goodness,
you
it's
doing?
working. Hey, how are
Caleb,
you?
thank you so much. I've seen you popping up. You've been here for so long. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
not a problem. This has been fun watching everybody get to pop in here and talk to you. Like I'm gonna say right off the bat, I love it when voice actors especially are kind of known for this in this world, popping on Instagram and being really interactive with.
It's glad
And it's
to hear that you
just
it's glad to hear that you enjoy that. I avoided it for a long time, like I mentioned before, because I was so nervous about it. But then eventually I was like, get over yourself. This is not about you. This is about connecting with people. And since I've started focusing on that, I found that it's just so enjoyable to connect with people face to face. It's lovely to connect with people through comments and messages and things, but it's just not the same as getting that face to face time with someone.
for sure, for sure. I kind of understand where you're coming from. Like also having ADHD, being a little bit socially awkward, like it's interacting with strangers, especially on the internet, through video. Like it can be awkward, bit nerve-wracking, but um, yeah. So I get it. Yeah.
So tell me about yourself, Caleb. I'm keeping an eye on the time. If we drop off, I'm going to add you on again because I
Okay.
know it's been like 3 hours of this, but I knew this would happen because last time I did this, it happened as well. It just went on a kind of roll over and over. So
Yeah,
tell
no
me where
worries.
you are. And Thomas
I
is still here. I think that's because he doesn't know how to switch off. But Thomas,
No,
you're
that's okay.
welcome to hang out.
Thomas can keep hanging out.
Yeah,
Like his
we
accent's
love
cool,
a
so
lot of love for
that's
Thomas.
nice.
You,
Thomas,
if
like
you
a
went
lot,
out,
a lot of
I
love
go
for you
out.
in the comments.
Um, so yeah, I think we got probably about 2 or 3 minutes left. But anyway, so I'm in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like actually one of the reasons I followed you in the first place is hold on, sorry, got a little radio going over here. Um, like I'm a voiceover nerd. I've been
Are
trying to get
you?
into it for a couple of years. Done a
Just
handful of
chilling.
done a handful of commercial auditions here and there. They were terrible.
Oh,
Um,
are they?
yeah.
Are you finding you're getting any opportunities?
Oh, so I am on the talent list for a local studio.
Oh,
But
great.
I tend,
Cool.
yeah, yeah, that produces like some nationwide commercials,
Great.
audiobooks, and stuff like that. Um, but I only have gone for auditions where I think like I might have like even the tiniest bit of a shot because I'm still kind of developing my talent. Like I've been on,
Sure.
obviously you were in Mass Effect, so you probably know Jennifer Hale. Like
Yeah, I
she's,
do.
yeah,
I don't know if I've met
Jen's
Jennifer Hale personally, but I obviously know her and I'm a fan of hers, of
got it.
course.
Like I've been in touch with her mostly through social media. Got to meet her in
Oh,
person earlier this year.
wow.
Really awesome person, but she has a really cool website called acting.skillshub.life
Oh,
that she
interesting.
started
That's
about
really
4 years
cool.
ago. Where I think her original idea for it was just to have like casting directors, people in the industry. There's some big name actors on there
Oh, cool.
where mostly like fellow actors can get on there and like book time by the minute with other actors and do stuff like run lines and get feedback.
Oh, wow.
And then a bunch of noobs like me jumped on there going, how can I become a voice actor? You know, and it's developed into something
Wow.
that's much, much bigger now, with like actual classes and courses that you can take and ways to keep track of your progress as an actor. The people that have put in the work, there's a number of people that got on Skills Hub and they're signed with some pretty big name agencies
Wow.
now. Not for any, this is comments more for anybody in the chat going, oh my gosh, like I can go get discovered because
Oh my God. Guys, we're back on. We've done 3 hours of this. 3 hours. It's only the hardcore ones that are left. Survival of the fittest. I cannot believe you guys are coming back into this. Hey guys. Oh, that's so cool. We're back, baby. We're back. Please, can I join? Yes, I was really enjoying that conversation with Caleb, and I don't know where he is. Caleb, are you still... Maybe... Oh. That's right. We love you. I love you. I really love you. And I'm so amazed that you guys have hung about for so long. That's really cool.
Here we go.
I found you.
You found me.
In case you thought I'd disappeared and ran off.
No, I figured the stream
I
got
was really
cut off.
enjoying the conversation because so you're a voice actor too, or you're getting into voice
I'm
acting.
I'm attempting. The journey's a little bit on hold right now just because of life
Of
circumstances.
course, of course.
Like like I asked you in the chat earlier about like whether you were able to do your Arcane recording in person or if you were remote. Like I don't have a current setup right now
Right.
where I can set up a home studio, so doing things the way that I'd like to, without paying $160 an hour at the local studio to be able to do recording.
Is that how much it is at the local studio?
Yeah, there's a couple of cheaper studios in the area, but like I've seen the insides of their setups and I'm like I don't know, other than maybe some basic music recording, but for like
Right.
professional recording, I'm not sure that it's going to be a good fit.
But
But
what I'll say
um
though, Caleb, just a bit of advice for editions, it doesn't matter as
mhm,
much for editions.
yeah.
You know, so I would say if you can get a quiet space and a half decent mic,
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
going to be, you know, that's going to be a similar setup to what I think majority of maybe voice actors have.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to booking jobs and working, I feel like I'm the kind of person who's like, worry about that later. Just get your voice out there, get auditioning, you know, get comfortable being in that pocket of the industry.
Yeah.
But I do understand. But you were sharing some really useful information. I don't know, guys, who's left in the chat. We're down to 38 people. Survival of the fittest, guys. You're still here. I don't know if anyone in the chat is also a voice actor or interested in voice acting, but that was really cool what you were telling us about what Jennifer Hale has with her website, that kind of support system.
Yeah, so what was the last thing you heard? Because like all of a sudden like the video cut
The
out
last
and
thing
then
I
I was seeing
the
my
last thing
my feed
I
playing back
heard
to me.
was that you were setting, there was a way for you to get feedback. There was feedback from artists, I think, from other voice artists. There was a way to sort of share your stuff and get feedback.
Right. Right. So there's a lot of actors, like working actors in the industry that are on this website available as coaches. There's casting directors, people that have worked on some pretty big names. For
Yeah,
instance, you know Chris Borders
I know
since you
Chris.
worked
I've
with
worked with Chris. Yeah, Chris is great.
Chris is on there. He was the first person I ever booked time with. I love
So
he's a good dude. Like it was awesome.
yeah,
So he had me read uh, I was extremely nervous at the time. Like, even though like I've been doing public speaking since I was like 7 years old,
have
so
you?
I know how to be in front of an audience, but I still just get like insanely nervous until I get going. Like, I need to kind of
Sure.
like ramp up before like the ADHD excitement kicks in,
Right,
and then
right,
I'm
right,
golden.
right, right.
Yeah. With him, I think he had me read like some copy from like Dragon Age, like a Dragon Age character. Um, and like in a very specific way, and I did it, and it was like his very first bit of feedback was great, you can act, which was incredibly validating. So like yeah,
Sure.
I'd love that guy. But anyway, like people like him are on there. A lot of other names that people will recognize if they're nerdy about voice acting like I am. But the point is you can jump on there. There are actual courses you can take. They've set up the website now where you can track your learning progress and stuff like that. If you get to a point where you're doing auditions, or even not necessarily doing auditions, but like you just want to book time with somebody that
Sure.
has experience, they charge by the minute or whatever. So you can do 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, if the person's schedule allows for it. And like you can read for them, get feedback, get actual coaching from people who are doing this for a living. So it's a really cool setup. I've been on there for about 4 years. Like I said, there are people that have managed to actually get into voice acting as a living through this website because they put in the work. But that's kind of where,
What a triumph. Chris is so great.
yeah.
Chris Borders, like, you couldn't have chosen a better. I've not seen Chris in years, but I know Chris, and you couldn't have chosen a better person to work with. Like, he's just such a fantastic director. I'm just noticing in the comments, practitioner said, I took a college level speaking class in high school. I absolutely understand how daunting it can be to talk in front of people, a way to decrease the anxiety is to just stare at foreheads.
Stare at foreheads.
What do they say? Oh, picture people naked, which I'm always like, that's just weird. That's gonna make me more nervous. That's not something that's gonna relax me or make me smile. Well,
no, that's a cliche, and honestly, there's some people that I just don't want to picture naked.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, for all
like
of us,
in
right?
the audience,
Like, oh,
you know, especially if like your parents are in the audience or something like that.
That's what I
don't want to see
mean.
that.
It can get weird. Yeah, it can get weird really, really fast. But I, even though I'm an actor, I've always had a fear of public speaking, actually. And so what's been interesting for me is the more I've worked on video games and things, and the more I've had a slight, more of a demand to speak publicly, right? To do panels and things. That those have been fears that I've had to get over. And I found the only way to get over it is to like throw yourself in the deep end into the absolute terror of it. I don't think there's any other way around it. I think you have to, there's no other way but just
there's
like,
no dipping your toes in, like you just gotta jump in and get used to the cold water.
Free fall. Yeah, you've got to totally jump in and free fall, and it's absolutely terrifying. And even if it doesn't go to plan and it's like your worst fear realized, at least you've flopped and it's happened. You've fallen and you're flat on your face and you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But for me, who has had a fear of public speaking and public engagement in general for a long time, that's been the only way I can think that I've gotten over that has just been to roll up my sleeves and get involved, do it.
A quick question for you then, because I heard you mention earlier about like sometimes your anxiety, like you get the heart palpitations and stuff like that. If you're getting nervous before doing like a recording session, maybe even something that's kind of high pressure, since you also have ADHD, part of my thing with the ADHD is the performance anxiety causes my brain to kind of lock up. And I'm like if anybody knows, like watches the show Bob's Burgers, like when Tina's like,
oh yeah,
that's kind of what my brain starts doing. Like, do you have any exercises or ways of snapping yourself out of that when you're dealing with nerves so you can kind of switch into performance mode?
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's a whole bunch of grounding exercises that I've sort of experimented with and explored over the years. I found the most tried and true thing is to engage with someone who feels safe and familiar, or someone that you can. And an example of that is, so even recently, I was going, it was the day of the Arcane premiere, where I knew there was going to be like red carpets and spotlight and stuff, and that's all very much out of my comfort zone. But I did a little photo shoot like an hour before the premiere, and the photographer, this lovely Ukrainian guy, was so sweet and kind and chatty. And I found I got so immersed in my conversation and connection with him that all of my nerves about, anticipating what was going to happen at the event just kind of melted away. And actually, he gave me a lift to the premiere. And so I'm in the car with him. And, if I was going to be in like an Uber or driving, I would have just been a ball of nerves. It's all I would have been able to think about. But it was such a distraction to be able to have a conversation with him and talk about anything and everything. He just really relaxed me. So for me, I always kind of pick up the phone before something that's a little scary and call someone that I'm familiar with. And I don't know, if it's someone you love and trust, you've got there's no way you can't be pulled out of that anxiety, right? Like it just is someone who helps let your guard down. So for me, that's been one thing. What I will say though, just to be transparent about this, and I know it's controversial, but for me, my anxiety has been all-consuming and like decades. I mean, since childhood, really, decades long. And for me, eventually deciding to go on medication, to go on SSRI medication to deal with that, to deal with anxiety, that's been a great decision. I know it's not for everyone. For me, it's been a life-changing decision.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you on meds for ADHD too then? Because I know anxiety can sometimes kind of be a thing that grows out of ADHD.
I'm not.
I've
never done stimulants for ADHD. Okay. I've never tried stimulants for ADHD. I found that the SSRIs have worked quite well for the ADHDs too. But what I will say is, sometimes with the SSRIs, I struggle to get motivated. And that's where something like a stimulant might help.
Mhm.
But for me personally, I don't want to mix too many
Yeah,
medications together if I can avoid it, right? So, and I know people do, and that's fine. Like for me, it's like my philosophy is really like each to their own. But for me, at the moment, that's kind of working. Um, but the ADHD and the anxiety, it's all bundled together, as you know, right?
yeah,
It's all
yeah, yeah.
just a big messy bundle. I'm trying to untangle everything. Like, wait, what is what here? Um, it's been complicated. I think those things are complicated to treat, and I think there's no one blanket treatment. I think it's just it, everything has to be catered to the individual. And for me personally, the SSRIs, or someone in the comments saying SSRIs definitely helped with ADHD, with their
Interesting.
ADHD.
Got it.
Um, I got ADHD2. My friend got medication for it and it helped and it made him depressed. And that's what I mean, right? So it
And
depends. There's no one fits all. It varies from person to person.
for sure. And like for anybody, I think it's who's that in there? Violet, like with her friend. So like I haven't been on medication since I was 14 years old. I'm in my early
Okay.
40s now. Um, the only thing I was told when I was diagnosed 30 years ago was you have a hard time doing your schoolwork and paying attention because you have ADHD. Here's Ritalin. It'll help you do your schoolwork.
Right.
And that was it. There was no further education. I kind of had to take a deep dive on like my own mental health over the last 4 years or so. And that's when I really started about learning what ADHD is and all the side effects and all the other comorbids that come with it, like anxiety, like depression. Like for a long time, that anybody in the chat that has ADHD will probably be familiar with growing up being called lazy because you can't
Oh
get
my
yourself up
God.
to
Yes.
do stuff that you
Yes.
internally are screaming at yourself to kind of get up and do. So anyway, all of that to say, I was about to go off on a tangent.
Do
Um,
it. Do the
like,
tangent.
well, I'm kind of swerving back because the ADHD was kicking in, but like people like that with Violet's friend that like they're having an adverse reaction to the medication. My point of mentioning, nobody told me back then, and I don't think my parents were necessarily educated on it, was go back to the doctor that diagnosed you or is giving you a prescription, be like, I'm having these adverse reactions. Can we try a different medication? Can we try a different dosage and stuff like that? Because what Ritalin did to me as a kid and why I eventually quit was like it gave me what I now recognize as all the physical symptoms of anxiety because it's a
Right.
stimulant. It
Yes.
felt almost identical to drinking coffee that's
Mm-hmm.
way too strong.
Yeah.
I could do my homework and stuff like that, but like it would make me talk really, really, really fast. I remember people commenting about like I can't shut up anymore, because it's a stimulant medication, but it made me feel awful. But nobody told me back then, you can go back to your doctor and be like, hey, here's what's happening. And you can work with your caregiver to try to do something different. But yeah, anyway, so that's that for
But
Violet,
it's really it
or
brings
anybody
up a
else
really
feeling about
interesting conversation. I know a lot of people in this community are neurodivergent, a lot in the spectrum, a lot have ADHD, certainly a lot have anxiety and depression. A lot of the
it.
time they're all
Lots
bundled
of us in the
together.
creative space. Lots of us in the
And it's
creative
such a
space.
mess, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard, especially when you have multiple diagnoses and it's like, how do you even begin to untangle this? It's such it's just such a ball of chaos. And again, I do believe one size does not fit all. For me, it's been a combination of therapy and you know somatic treatment and therapy and um, making sure that I make time for my creative interests and balancing my work and home life. And for me personally, taking medication, taking the SSRIs, but it's not for everyone,
Mhm.
and I think it's very complicated. And I think all we can do is support each other and communicate. And
Yeah.
it's nice to be getting tips in the comments here about what's worked for people and what doesn't work. We're all just so different, and it means we can all sort of try be on the journey together and try and fail together.
Yeah.
Um, and
So I have one other question,
yeah,
then I'll dip out and let
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else
yeah.
jump
Give
in
me,
here.
yeah, please,
Um,
absolutely.
if I can offer, and this is probably more like the business side of the show, um, the only complaint I have about this season was structurally, it did feel kind of rushed. Um,
Interesting.
and I'm wondering, especially like the stuff that happened with like Maddie, for me kind of felt like it came out of nowhere.
Interesting.
We weren't necessarily given, at least I didn't on my first watch. I'm going to watch it again.
Sure.
I didn't necessarily, it didn't seem to be a motivation for that thing to happen. There was like the time jump, and then she's waking up in that one person's bed. I'm trying to do this without spoilers.
Sure.
And then the thing.
Yeah, let's avoid the spoilers.
So what I'm wondering, is there anything that you recorded that you're allowed to talk about that maybe got cut out, that you know of that you would like to see still in there to kind of flesh out that story?
Because Amanda Overton, writer and co-producer of Arcane, has just joined.
I gave her a follow the other day too. So
she is the best person. I was going to
send her a DM.
She is the best. All I can do, so I'm going to give you my own personal opinion. My opinion, and again, you're entitled to yours, and absolutely, you know, and I hear you. My personal opinion, as a lover of the show and a fan of the show, is that it was not rushed. I think there's kinds of, for me it was packed. It was action packed. It was filled with rich, nuanced, complex characters and storylines and moments.
Yeah.
And it was full. It's a very full season. Yeah. And for me, I would differentiate between it being packed in that way, creatively packed, and rushed.
That's what I mean. I think by rushed, I mean like it would have benefited from like maybe another episode or two to kind of flesh out all the stuff that was kind of packed in, if that makes completely more sense.
And it would have been amazing for them to have more, you know, time to be able to do, I mean, of course, but I feel you could say that to any of the shows and projects we love. Like, we're always left wanting more. For me, the best projects leave us wanting more. Mm-hmm. The best movies leave us wanting more. The best stories leave us wanting more. And you know, I found Arcane to be such a fulfilling experience. But also, you know, it did leave me wanting more. And I think that's actually a good thing, because I think that means there's more to come. Although I don't know anything about their plans, but I am excited for whatever they rustle up next. And I know they had a really, I mean, I just think they did such a beautiful job crafting the show. I would have loved if there was more of Maddie. I would have loved if there was more of all the characters that I love in the show. But I have faith in Riot that they're going to pull all kinds of magical rabbits out of the hat. So yeah, that's my opinion. Not that you asked for it, but that's my, you know, I'm interested in, but you know, it's interesting to hear your opinion, you know, and that's honestly mine. That's honestly my opinion.
Just to clarify, what I meant was, like, it kind of felt like, I guess what I was asking, was there anything that got cut out that you know of, that, like, you recorded, that stuff that didn't quite make the cut?
There's nothing that I know of.
Final cut.
There's nothing that I know of that did not make the final cut. But like everything else that in the project, you know, the backstory and the lore and the laying the groundwork and foundation for all these characters was so rich. You know, they will have had treatments upon treatments for all of these characters, and so there'll be so many things that they know that we don't know. And so obviously whatever made the final show. But yes, obviously there's a lot more to the character that we did not see, and you know, all of the other characters too. But yeah, nothing got cut from the final show, to my knowledge. I don't think so.
Got it.
Thank you for chatting. I'm keeping an eye on the time here. If you, I mean, I hate to do this because I said earlier, I feel like I'm on a game show where I'm just pushing a buzzer and someone's like falling down the trapdoor into the abyss. And so I'm sorry to kick you off, but I'm going to get someone else to come on. I'm really glad. Thank you for coming on and being so open and vulnerable with that, you know, taking the conversation where, you know, leading the conversation where you led the conversation, because I know a lot of people in the chat really enjoyed it and really got a lot out of that. So thanks for doing that. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for doing this. I've only got about 9% battery left on my phone anyway. So
perfect timing, Caleb. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. You have a good night. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much.